Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering Tom Brady cracks open the possible return from retirement, saying he's not opposed to it. We'll also be talking about NFL executives and scouts rank for the draft's top quarterbacks. And then, since it's Friday, make sure you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be doing our Florida Man Friday special. But before we start, I just wanted to ask that you guys like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is GSMCPodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps the show. Hello, Tate. How are you doing?
Hello, Miss Faith. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Friday. Woo.
It's Friday. It's gonna be it's a short day for me. I have some things I'm gonna be doing. So I'm doing a show, and then I'm a free bird. I'm not working today. After this is working, but after this.
Yeah.
And it's a possibility I may go to Spain today.
Wow.
Isn't that kind of cool to just kind of toss out, like you're trying to figure out what am I gonna do today? And it's like, oh, I may go to Spain, which is only like an hour from here. So it's not like I'm doing anything.
Dream, man.
It is awesome.
Dream.
So my wife and I are thinking about going, maybe like doing a little road trip, and I was thinking about maybe going to Ayamonte, Spain, which is right on the Portuguese border.
Very
I like that.
nice.
I like that little town.
That's awesome.
All right. Anything exciting?
Tomorrow, Georgia's spring football game. I'm so excited. Guess who's going?
So you are going?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You don't understand. I have been to so many sporting events. I've traveled around the country to so many college football games and bowl games and things like that. I have never, not once, been to a spring game. That is something I've never even thought about.
I haven't gone to one either, but I have friends coming up from my hometown. They're my sorority sisters from my last school. They're coming up for tomorrow and coming to the game. And so I got some friends coming up. We're going to go to the game, going to hang out afterwards. It's going to be a fun Saturday. I'm excited.
Georgia is the school. I'm totally confused about Georgia this year because I think Georgia is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think their schedule is so bad. I mean, so not bad, isn't so hard. It is a really hard schedule.
Yeah, it's not great this year.
Last year, I'm like, I didn't think Georgia was as good as everyone thought they were, but their schedule I thought their schedule was so easy. This year, I'm like, ooh, Georgia.
Yeah.
So it could be. I got, like I said, I have Ohio State as the best team in the country and Georgia number 2. Mm. So I'm very that's kind of a cool thing to go to. So you may have to take a couple of pictures, do some shorts from the game or something. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Gosh. Well, before we dive into our first segment, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, so O.J. Simpson passed away yesterday. He was 74 and he passed away from 76, excuse me.
76. I was going to say, I thought he was a little over that.
And he passed away from cancer, which I did not know he was battling cancer.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, so.
OJ, when I found this news out, it's a mixed bag. It's not, it's like, do you cover it? Do you not cover it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. I grew up, I'm a lot older than you. And so I remember OJ being this big mega star. Mm-hmm. And I give the trivia question of, when you think about the Terminator movies, everyone thinks about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-hmm. But Arnold wasn't the original Terminator. OJ was originally cast as the Terminator. Mm-hmm. And people kind of make jokes about it, because of the trial and things. But how weird could it be, that franchise having him as the lead guy? And then I also think about him trying to leave the big eyesore out. You can't deny the murder trial or anything like
Right.
it. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
that's there, and everyone has their feelings on what they
Mm-hmm.
believe with that one. But what's lost is he may be. You could make a case that OJ could be the greatest running back to ever run in the NFL. 2,003 yards, I think, in 12 games or 14 games.
Yeah.
He's done, I mean, he is, when you look at the numbers, you could literally make a case of the greatest running backs ever. A lot of his numbers don't show up because now it's a 16 and 17 game season.
Mm-hmm.
And so the things that he has done doesn't look as spectacular because he played in a much shorter season
Right.
back then. So, love him, hate him, indifferent about him.
Mm-hmm.
He left a mark on America, good, bad, and ugly.
He
I
did.
mean, like,
He did for
crazy.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's about as much about the OJ topic as I'm willing to talk about.
Yeah, I am.
Isn't it crazy? There's a couple people in life that you're like, ooh, we need to stay away from that topic
Yeah.
altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And OJ is definitely one of those guys
Mm-hmm.
that you're like,
Very
nope.
controversial talking topic. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah.
I prefer to, I recognize that he was a mega star. I recognize that he was the accusations, the big trial. I recognize that separate from that, he was a Hall of Fame running back that could be one of the greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
And, for everyone involved, hopefully this kind of closes the book on that and finally gives everyone closure,
Mm-hmm.
finally.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I leave it.
That's a good place to leave it at.
Closure, yeah. And
Okay.
speaking of closure,
Speaking of closure, oh my gosh. Speaking of closure, guys. So Tom
you know,
Brady is discussing a possible return to the NFL. Third time's the charm, I
third
guess.
time's the charm.
So Tom Brady cracks open the door to possible return from retirement, saying he's not opposed to it. Tom Brady retired, then he unretired, then he retired again for good. Then he joked about unretiring, then he said unretiring is off the table. You'll never guess what he did Thursday. The former New England Patriots quarterback appeared on a new podcast called Deep Cut, in which the premise appears to be guests being interviewed while receiving haircuts from barber influencer Vic Blends. When asked about the prospect of returning from retirement, specifically to replace a quarterback late in the season for a playoff team, Brady didn't rule it out. He actually presented the NFL as the actual obstacle to return due to his ongoing attempt to buy a chunk of the Las Vegas Raiders. He compared the idea to that of Michael Jordan, who returned to the NBA after a second retirement to play the Washington Wizards, of which he owned a piece. Brady's answer: I'm not opposed to it. I don't know if they are going to let me if I become an owner of an NFL team. I don't know. I'm always going to be in good shape, always be able to throw the ball. So to come in for a little bit, like MJ coming back, I don't know if they would let me, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. Brady also mentioned the Patriots and Raiders as possibilities for such a comeback, while Vic Blends mentioned his hometown San Francisco 49ers. That's as much as Brady has entertained the possibility of return since his little video on the beach, and comes a month after he posted a video of himself running a 40-yard dash. You could call these breadcrumbs for a potentially shocking return, but it's also probably worth noting that Deep Cut is produced by a production company called Shadow Lion. And Shadow Lion, co-founded by Brady and his longtime manager, with others, is responsible for many of the ads you've seen Brady in over the past few years, as well as his well-coordinated social presence. So,
Okay. Faith, you have strong feelings on this one when we brought this up. So I'm going to let you go first.
I just think the man should make up his mind. Are you retired or are you not retired? And at this point, he's 45. You're 5 years away from 50. I think it's time to close that chapter of your life, honestly. Not saying that Tom Brady probably isn't still great, but he can't be as good as he was, back in the day. And so I just think it's time for that chapter to be closed, in my opinion.
All right, look up real quick. How old is Tom Brady? That's the first thing I want to find out.
Okay.
Um,
Tom Brady is. Oh, he's
ooh.
46. Okay, so 4 years to 50. Excuse me. You're 4 years to 50.
Oh God, I didn't realize he was 46. That's crazy.
4 years to 50. I think it's about time to cut it.
Faith, I don't agree with you.
You don't agree with me?
I don't. Okay, here's the thing. I don't have a lot of information, but I'm going to give you my take.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, make a decision, retire, or come back, but stop flip flopping.
Yep.
Tom Brady had a lot of pressure on him on the personal side where the family wanted him to retire.
Right.
And from everything I've seen, he didn't want to retire. His family wanted him to retire. And ultimately, it might have cost him his family. I don't know. I mean, I'm not there, but everything was speculated that was the reason behind the divorce of Tom Brady. But everything I also saw was that it was pressure from the family. And I kind of felt like, why cost if you're just gonna come back for 1 year, don't let that cost you your marriage.
Right.
That was my take on that. And like I said, this is an outsider looking in. And so I thought it was crazy that he came back for 1 more year when his marriage was on the line. And I said he should just retire and save his marriage. But after this, now looking at this as Tom Brady, the single Tom Brady, and not wanting to retire, Tom Brady still is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's kind of like LeBron James is one of the best players in basketball. Tom Brady still has not hit that downward slide. If you look at his last year in Tampa Bay, he was still producing at a very high level. In football, it is traditionally an incredibly short window. 2-3 years is a person's career. Tom Brady's is 20 something years, his career. Once it's over, once you lose it, you can't get it back. And what do you risk? Like, hey, it's gonna hurt your legacy. Tom Brady's legacy is set. So it ultimately comes down to, does he have another year or two in it? Because it's enjoyment. Once he loses that ability, it's over. So he has between 0 and 2 years, 3 years left on him. He's accomplished everything he's ever wanted to accomplish, except for playing for the love of the game. And you can see he honestly loves the game. And if he has the ability to keep playing because he loves the game and someone's willing to hire him, I say run it till the wheels fall off at this point. Because it's not like, hey, I really enjoyed backpacking, but I gave it up. You can still get out there and do a little something. With football, once it leaves you, you can't just kind of relive the good old days. It's not the same any longer. And most times when you talk to players who have retired, they miss it so much. And what they miss is being in the locker room with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and so I do think Tom Brady can still play and everything. Now I'm gonna double back on myself and contradict myself as well. Okay. Tom Brady has a unique situation where he has the opportunity to become part owner or is about to become part owner of one of the most storied franchises in sports,
Mm-hmm.
the Las Vegas Raiders, with their new stadium, new city, and everything. And I'm telling you this, if you gave me a choice from being an owner of a franchise or part owner of a franchise or playing football, I'd rather be Jerry Jones than Dak Prescott any day of the
Oh,
week.
absolutely.
You understand? Do you understand the value of an NFL franchise only goes up exponentially. If you have that chance to be an owner, I don't give that up. No way. That's if if there was not an ownership situation at uh in play, I would be like Tom Brady. Come back and do your thing. I also think seeing Joe Flacco kind of come back and play with the Browns and having the huge success that he had kind of motivated him because he looks at Joe Flacco like, I'm better than Flacco. Flacco can do it. I sure as heck can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But Flacco don't have a chance to become part owner of a franchise.
Right.
And that is, in my opinion, that's the holy grail.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. Um, you have a chance, you have a second career that very few people in the history of sports get to have other than Michael Jordan. Like I think the biggest mistake Michael Jordan has ever made is giving up his ownership rights. Because it changes everything. Tom Brady being an owner, that means you can still be in the game. You can still be in the locker room. You can still be in access to everything that you love. Plus, you can be in the broadcast booth where he has his whole broadcast career. He has his ownership career. He has his production company. He has so much stuff going on. I don't give that up to
Mm-hmm.
play for another year or
Right.
two. I don't give that up if I'm planning on playing another 3 years. Unless I had something in writing, some type of way that says, hey, you can come back, but we will give you the right you will still get a chance to buy ownership in the team after you retire.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I'm giving up ownership rights. You understand where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Ownership of an NFL team is ooh,
That's
that's where
that's
it's at.
that's living luxury right there.
That prints money for you.
Yeah.
It opens up all kind of things. Plus, it keeps him close to the game where most people, when it's over, you only get invited back for, special events,
Mm.
things of that nature. You don't get to live the NFL life any longer. Brady as an owner, you pretty much get to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm taking ownership over playing. So
Mm-hmm.
do you see how what I was saying, what I'm
No, yeah.
contradicting myself
I
because
understand.
does it make sense?
I understand. It's just, the whole like flip-flopping from, "Oh, I'm retired" to, oh, I'm coming back, to, oh, just kidding, I'm retired, to, oh, well, actually, maybe I'll come back for a couple more years. It's like, man, make up
Yeah.
your mind, dude.
For someone, see, you, I put myself in their situation, I put my life experiences, and I think about there are opportunities in life that I really wanted to do, and your family really did not want you to do. And mine was, I had a chance when I was younger, after after high school, I had a chance to move to Japan
Hmm.
and go to college in Japan. And that was such a big opportunity. And I really wanted to go. And my family was like so against me going. And eventually I caved to the pressures of what my family wanted
Hmm.
and didn't go. And that's something that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, man, I regret that so much. I regret it. And you start thinking about the things that you regret. And I kind of feel like it was kind of that same way with Tom Brady, where it was, I didn't want to retire, but there was a lot of pressure from the media and my family to retire. Everyone's telling me I need to retire. He finally caves, and now he's seeing what life is as a retired player, and it's like, oh no, this is not as fun as it is to play football. And I've seen other players where the family was on him, on the guy, like, hey, we want you to retire. We want you to retire. We want you around. But then you retire, and but your kids are older. And then you
Hmm.
retire, and it's like, dad's around too much. We got friends to go hang out with, things like that. And you have this thing picture in your mind that the family and the kids are going to be around you all the time, but now they have their lives, and retirement isn't what you thought it was. But then, unlike Tom Brady, where it's like, hey, I've been off a year, can I come back? And they're like, no, dude, you're old and you've been out of the game. No one wants you now. Tom Brady has that chance to actually make the change.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of one of those things where it's kind of, it's, I understand both sides
Hmm.
of what you're saying on that one. Because when you're forced to, when other people's wishes for you outweigh your own wishes, there's always a little bit of seed of regret
Hmm.
in your head. Did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
Also, it's different when you can say you play and then you're like, okay, the game's left me by. I need to let it go. But players sometimes are the last ones to realize that the game has passed them by. But
Hmm.
right now, Tom Brady, the last time I saw Tom Brady, it was in the playoffs and he still looked good. So at 46, I would have loved, if it been Brady, play till you're 50, be the first player in NFL history going out there on your hover round scooter, coming out. They wheel you out there, you use your walker, you throw you a couple of touchdowns, and then you retire.
Hmm.
That's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. See if Brady gets back in the game or not. But with that, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about NFL executives and scouts ranking drafts top quarterbacks. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a minute.